All right. Hello, hello, my dear friends. Operator Starsky here. And tonight I'm joined with my brother DIMA from some of the most kick-ass Ukrainian bands called HARMATA. Their music is like something that I completely 100% як сказати англійською, типа хаваю. That's something mine, all right? So, Dima,
Yeah.
hello, how are you?
Hi, mate. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you? Thank you
No,
for having me tonight. Hi, everyone.
I'm fine. Like, what in the world can even happen to me here, like, guys? So, Dima, besides being a member of Harmata, he is also a serviceman of my brigade, of 4th Operative Brigade, Rubij, which makes me insanely proud. There's several Ukrainian brigades where they have like musicians, composers, let's say writers, poets, etc. But they like comparing to Harmata, comparing to metal band that represents the brigades, the rest suck. Literally, they suck balls. That's just my personal opinion. They don't suck maybe as soldiers, but as ideologically, it's a win, I think. So, Dima, tell us a couple words about yourself, please, and what do you do?
Man, thank you for that introduction. Actually, it was a great introduction of mine. Uh, I will try to be to tell you a really short story about myself. So, as you told, I am now serviceman in Rubish Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. But actually, I haven't always been a serviceman. I'm a regular civilian guy who joined the army because it's war and because we have to protect our country. So before joining the army, I had lots of activities actually. Many of them were I was entrepreneur. I had a few small businesses, right? Mainly one of them in international trade. So we were bringing companies to foreign markets, both from Ukraine and in Ukraine. Then it was my like purely professional side, right? It was something that was bringing me money actually, because my other activities actually weren't bringing so much money. So I am musician, as you already told, drummer in two Ukrainian rock bands, Haidamaki and Harmata. Haidamaki, which is it's not my band, it's not my creation, but I've been there since 2011, something like that. So then I made a short break actually for creating my own band, which is Harmata, and then I joined again Haidamaki. And I'm also a volunteer since the very beginning of this war, since 2014, working for military, helping in different ways, and especially, of course, since the full-scale war 2022, I started doing lots at my scale, right? You can always do better, but I really did what I can to help the army to buy things, to bring them to the front line, etc. And as many of those volunteers in Ukraine, I ended up going myself, joining the army because I felt it was the time to do that, to go further and do something more than I was actually doing at this moment. So it was a something logical and something natural to me. Because I went actually to the military authorities in 2022, and they didn't take me because I had no military experience. I was like in the bottom of the list of people they actually were looking for. But now, well, last year, because I joined the army last year. Last year, well, I first for the next time I went into at the end of 2023, and they still didn't want me. But in April 2024, they said, "Okay, now you can go." So I went there, and I have to say I'm happy to be there. I feel totally accomplished serving my people, serving my country, and live fully live in this huge moment, which is this war. Even if it's really fucking terrible, man, it's fucking terrible because so many people are dying, so many disasters are happening, so many madness. But at the same time, I have to say this moment is so huge for us, and I think the best a Ukrainian man can do is to be now part of the army in this or that, from this or that point, from this or that point of view. But yeah, it's so important. So this is what I am, and actually the band is still here. Our NGO is still here, working for Rubij now mostly, and myself, I am fully in Rubij and just trying to do my best and to live this life as it should be lived. Actually,
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for your service, first of all, because um
thank
in 10 years of my military experience, I rarely saw musicians, and especially metal musicians, in the Ukrainian army, which is, people like that deserve my full respect. I wanted to
I
ask
have
you.
to say, I have to say, sorry for interrupting you, but I have to say, many musicians join the army. Many, you have many of them right now, and I have many musicians from the heavy metal music who joined the army and who are serving, and some of them died already. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Now, right now in the army, you can find people from. It's not a professional army like like in France or in Germany or whatever. It's a real popular army because you have, of course, like professional military guys, but a huge part of this army is now composed of former civilians who just went there by their own or by force. We have to say it, of course, but the army is like full of guys who would never have been there if there was no war, you know. And amongst them, musicians like actors, painters, designers, businessmen, anything you want, man, anything you want,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's good, and it's good,
People,
and it's good.
people of all sorts of professions, and again, this is something that also inspires me. Because when we had Revolution of Dignity, it was something that inspired me and changed my opinion of my people. Then there
Yeah,
was anti-terrorist operation against so many volunteers, people who volunteered, also mobilized, which was again something that changed my opinion against about my people. For better, improved my opinion of my people, and now this war. Ukrainians, even to me as a Ukrainian, Ukrainians keep surprising. What I wanted to
yeah.
ask you, my friend, how has the transition from being a drummer on stage to being a soldier in the National Guard changed the way you see yourself?
Uh, Totally, totally. It changed totally my point of view of myself, and it's a very good question, and thank you for that question because For a guy who never did any military service like me, um, even if I really was very close to military from starting from 2014, because we were all the time with them. We went playing for military guys on the front line back in 2014, 2015, etc. So I was involved. I was like next to it, but I never I could never imagine myself being really inside it, because we had such a, I'm 45 years old, and when I was kid, just after Ukrainian got its independence, like in 90s, in 2000, like army was like deteriorating. It was becoming something which wasn't worth like any good mention. It was something bad. Something, I don't know, but I think Russia did lots of bad things, literally about destroying our army from inside, but also telling us that your army is like shit. You have to just admit that. And somehow I think we had it in our somewhere like deep in our minds, unconsciousness, something like that. But as you said, in 2014 we started changing our mind about that, and changing our mind about Ukrainian people, about ourselves. And we were, I think the whole world was surprised in 2014, and in 2022 the whole world was surprised to see us like standing up. We just stood up and said no, we don't want it. We want it our way. And uh, and so, as I told you in the beginning of our conversation, I was next to the army for years, but taking the decision to go there and be part of it, it's something else. It's actually another level, another level of responsibility between yourself, between your family, between your friends, and and your nation. So I had to rethink many things. I had to change my way of life. I had to quit alcohol. I just create a discipline, and I think maybe elaborate at some point uh, another conception of myself, who am I, and what am I here for. Why am I here? Because in such hard times, as our country is living now, uh, you have to you just can't stay the same. You can't stay the same. You have to change, or you will break down. you know it's I think many people changed here, and the guys like me who were former civilians and now had to go to the army to fight and to serve the people, to serve the nation, to just completely change our lives. They changed completely as well. So, but at the same time, I feel totally accomplished. I feel being at my place. I feel being useful. I feel being in the very heart of the events. I feel being in the very heart of the history. Because the history, the Ukrainian, European, and maybe in worldwide history is being created right now here in Ukraine. And so it feels really good, man, to be part of it. It really feels good. And I one thing, when if I'm old one day, I hope I will be old one day, and I will have grandkids and stuff, and they will learn about this war in their history books, at school. And of course they will ask me questions like I did when I was kid. I was asking questions to my grandfather. And the question would be, what did you do back then? What did you do? You know? So I will be proud to say them. I was in Rubish Brigade, who was fighting in the hottest points of the front line. And this is like, you know, it makes me feel good, really, man. I'm just totally sincere with you. It's it's a kind of maybe a little bit egoistic feeling, but we are all egoists at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, the reason I love our audience so much, those beautiful people that are watching us right now, you know why? Because like we're having this absolutely deep conversation. At the same time, people in the chat are roasting Donald Trump so bad. Guys, we will talk about Donald Trump, okay? Just a bit later.
Yeah,
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you, by the way, another quick remark about Harmata and Haidamaki. So, guys, Haidamaki is actually a legendary Ukrainian band. It's not a metal band. They play, I very hard to like squeeze it into some kind of style, like folk rock, I would say.
folk rock. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and generally everyone in Ukraine knows about Haidamaki, but only the most kick-ass metalheads know about Harmata actually. Um, I wanted to
yeah.
ask you this: do you feel your artistic side and your military side are in conflict, or do they somehow complement each other?
They definitely complement each other. Definitely, because you know, the music has always been part of any Ukrainian wars or revolutions all the time. If you remember, there was a stage right in the center of Maidan Square, and there were like bands playing, not all the time, but very often, every weekend. And it's something important for us Ukrainians to keep our spirits up, to have some music, to be able to sing, you know, to sing and to hear some music. It's music is something that goes straight to your heart. You know, you can't see the music, you can't touch it, but you can hear it, and it's invisible and it goes straight to your heart. So the music is a great tool actually for supporting the spirit of a fighter, of you know, of a rebel. And Harmata, and both Haidamaki and Harmata are bands who sang a lot and did lots of music about this, about revolutions, about war, you know, about our life, you know, our actually life in Ukraine, what we are living every day. And at some point they were also part of the movement, because actually my the beginning of my volunteering activities, we were going to play with band to the front line. And so our contribution was made in this way. And the guys were happy, you know, uh, they were happy to see us on the front line, and they were thanking us. And I was saying, guys, what are you thanking me for? I'm just playing my music, you know. You are risking your lives. You are, you know, you are sitting here in the trenches, and I'm just here for a couple of days. You know, I play my cajon or my tambourine, and I go back, you know. And they were so thankful, man. They were really so thankful. It was crazy. And so the music is especially the style of music as Harmata does. It's a music about what's going on. It's music about war, about our inner struggle, outer struggle. And so I think you know, rock music has been actually conceived as a music of revolution, of music of protest. And so if you're a real man, you know, if you're a real like carrier of a message, and you pretend to be it. So you have to be true until the end. If you're saying like, I hate my enemy, I will go and kill him, and so when the enemy, and it's not war yet, so when the enemy comes around, fuck, go and kill him, because you pretended to want to do that when the time would come. The time has come. So it's just, it's just a normal evolution of a citizen. And yeah, I think even being a musician in the army, it feels good, and people are happy to see many different portraits, many different profiles around them in the army. Just, it's good because I can see in our brigade, I can see lots of guys from very interesting, amazing professions, from civil life, and it's so good. You feel like being in a family where everyone is us, but everyone is complementing each other. So definitely they are complementing, definitely. And I would say that being in the army right now, our singer of Harmata is being recruiting, has been recruiting, sorry, is being recruited right now in Rubish Brigade. So he will be going to training very soon, and I think he will change a lot. And when we will be back from the war, both of us, we will create lots of great music because we will be so inspired, and we'll have so many ideas. And so yeah, it's something which goes really together.
I remember when I was a press officer, I was dreaming of having like our own brigade's metal band actually, and it was like some of my biggest dreams back then. What do you like most in the brigade?
That's a very interesting question. I think the thing I like the most is the respect, people have to one to another. uh, it's something precious, man, because uh, again, we were always told, and there were always stories about the army, like a kind of organization where when you're a simple soldier, you will be insulted, you will be punished all the time for nothing, all this kind of shit. But right now it's not the case. I mean, it's changed. It changed a lot because Ukrainian army today and Ukrainian army 20 years ago, or even 30 or 40 years ago, it's not the same. It's not the same. So right now we have respect to each other. I can talk to a huge officer. I mean, very high level officer, just like I'm talking to you. Just like I would be talking to a partner, to a friend. There is no there is no superiority feeling or something. I don't have any inferiority feeling. I started just like a soldier. Now I'm corporal, and I mean it's okay. And I think this is the best, the biggest value we have. And this respect brings also along the fact that the brigade tries to put people in their places where they are most useful. And it's also a great thing because people can express themselves. We can uh, really do our best, to bring the our contribution, because it's so important to be at your place to make you the best of your contribution. And this is what is respected, and what is actually, it's the policy, I mean, of the brigade's commandment. And I every time I'm talking to my comrades, I feel good. They are great guys. Of course, there are different characters, there are different cases, but I'm talking about the overall feeling, the overall ambience. And this is what makes me inspired. Every time I'm surrounded by my comrades. We are talking, we are laughing, we are making jokes. Uh, we just live our lives, and everyone is a part of something bigger together. And this is what I love the most about Rubish.
Tell me, do you see Max Taran often?
Not often, but I do see him from time to time. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
we talk over the phone from time to time. Yeah, we had so many things that we are doing together. Actually, Harmata released a song dedicated to Rubish for 10 years anniversary, and we just wanted to offer something to make a gift to the brigade. And the guys liked it very much, and we decided to make a video. And right now we are creating a project of promoting this video uh, by the band with the brigade. So it will be like we will do our contribution, everyone from its side, and we will try to bring this music, to bring this song to as much people as we will possibly reach, because we love it, the brigade love it, and I think we managed to transfer a message. And so we are working with Max Taran on this project, and Max is a really great guy, very professional, very dynamic, very, he has lots of energy, lots of good ideas, and we are dealing very good together. And I think I mean, there are so many interesting things to come together.
yeah, absolutely. I wish he spoke English because I'm
Hmm.
still expecting to bring that little bastard to my stream sometime, but he's too lazy to learn actually.
He's learning now. He's learning.
Oh, really?
He's learning now, and yeah, and he actually even asked me to give him some English speaker to talk to him regularly to improve his English. So and Max is very clever and very, he's a real good guy, a smart guy, and I think in a few months you will talk to him during your streams.
That would be absolutely great because something I'm dreaming about since 2019. Um, since we already mentioned volunteering and the fundraisers for our brigade, we are running a fundraiser for our guys. Again, Dima, I think that you can tell a bit more about that because our guys are now currently as usual, at the hottest spot of the front line, and they require the drones and the cars. And specifically speaking about drones, so they require the fiber optic wire drones to to make Russians better and generally speaking to save our own lives. Can you tell a bit more about this one?
Yeah. So you mentioned drones and cars, and actually these are only two items between I think thousands of them that we actually need. But these two are particularly important, and especially drones right now, and especially fiber optic drones, because our brigade is right now deployed at the hottest point of the front line. It is Pokrovsk. I think everyone who's following up news knows it already, and this direction is of the front line is has some specifics, has some peculiarities, because Russians there are trying to infiltrate with small groups. They are not doing any big assaults or something. They're just walking across the fields by two, three people, and just like zombies, they're just walking and walking and by waves like that. And the second wave is like walking on the corpses of their comrades, and they just don't give a fuck. They just go. And so the drones is something that we badly need to counteract this kind of assault, because what we are trying to do with drones is to minimize the contact, the shooting contact, between our infantry and the enemy. Be- why? Because we try to save our guys' lives, and drones is the best tool today to help keep the enemy like back. We create a so-called kill zone. Uh, it means the zone where if the enemy comes here, he will die, and this is possible only thanks to the use of drones. And the fiber optic drones is a very important tool because they are resistant to the electronic warfare, and they are a little bit special to manipulate, but our guys are have lots of skills, and they are really good pilots. And these fiber optic drones allows to go straight to the target without being intercepted by electronic warfare, and they are flying far. I mean, not right now. The distance we are using fiber optic drones is about 30 kilometers, so you can hit targets really deep behind the enemy lines. And this is a very precious tool, and this is something we always need, and we do need every types of drones. We need recon drones, we need bomber drones, but FPV drones with fiber optic technologies is something uh, where Russia still, I think, as of today, still dominates. I mean, they have more of them than we do, so we have to do better to have more of these fiber optic drones to counteract those attacks. And cars, man, of course, cars is well, it's logistics. I mean, it's the blood of the war, right? Logistics, possibility to evacuate, deliver, just to go from one point to another. And cars something. It's a consumable, just like drones, right? So cars are broken. We all have really old cars. They all the time broken, and cars are a great target for enemy drones. And we all the time need those cars to replace the old ones, the hit ones, the burned ones, and it's a like non-stop process. So yeah, we are making this fundraiser with you, and thank you so much, and thank all those who watching this video, who are with you for your contribution, because the war is so expensive. It's so expensive. We just couldn't handle it by ourselves if we had no help from you guys.
Absolutely, my friend. I would say that we have a lot of absolutely amazing people who keep supporting my brigade and my channel, by the way, since 2022, since the very first days, and they keep doing that, which is absolutely surprising. But I'm so grateful to all our supporters. And by the way, if you wish to support our cause, our guys, to help them with drones and the vehicles, you can check out the link in the description. There is a link to HARMATA Volunteers. That is a charity foundation that generally collects the funds and gets those cars and drones to our guys. I will be extremely grateful to you, my friends. And also, we have several comments already. We have commentary from BT Clan. I love Rubij, literally. I'd give them a kidney. Thank you so much. No need to give your kidney. Also, One Grail says, wonder what kind of drugs are Russians on when they death march like that through fields, just like 1, 2, 3 men, just going straight forward and die.
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I think one thing that we have to understand is that the mistake that has been made by lots of Europeans and by us, of course, back at the time that we were we were trying to understand Russians with our own logic, but they have their own logic, which is like inside out of our logic, you know. So we don't have to we don't have to try to understand them from a normal point of view of a normal European guy, because it's totally different. They just have a totally different like mindset, man. Totally different mindset. They are going there. They are just not asking themselves why they are doing that. You know, they are going there because they are told to. You know, and of course, I think they are taking some drugs because I mean even with this particular mindset, they are still human beings. Like I mean, at least they look like human beings, but actually they are not 100% human beings because they are doing so awful awful things to us that a human being couldn't ever do. So they are kind of like, you know, we say in Ukrainian, unhuman, like unhuman. So looking like human, but not being human totally. So they are unhuman being. But it, it's we don't have to see the world, to see their world with our own eyes, because they live in their totally corrupted, totally disrupted and tortured mindset world. You know, they don't think like we think, and they are just going there because they are told to go there. You know, oh yeah, okay, you know. And it's I think it's as simple as that.
I agree with you. Jam Roast there in the comments says fatal alcohol syndrome plays a part, which I completely agree with. They can be taken, you know, like drugs. They may be like drinking vodka or whatever, like window cleaning, washing liquid, you know, stuff.
They are drinking. They are drinking a lot. That's true. Yeah.
One thing I completely agree with you, my friend, is that it's useless to try to understand them from our standpoint, because if you want to understand Russian invaders, you have to think like rapist, like murderer, like looter, like a freaking imbecile who comes to a different country to kill people, steal toilets and air conditioners and things like that. It's very hard
Yeah.
to find a conscious and decent person in the world who actually thinks like that. You know, one thing that makes me absolutely shocked when I watch videos with different experts, by the way, some Western experts, really interesting guys on YouTube who actually admire Russian army. What the fuck are you admiring, guys? Like, what the fuck? Are you admiring like meat waves? Are you admiring like Bucha massacre? Are you admiring like Russian soldiers raping toddlers and snatching kids and doing shit like that, striking children's hospitals? Do you admire that? Oh my fucking god! Like this is something that you know. One thing you cannot definitely find in Russian army is a fashion, I don't know, style, dignity. Nothing is there. Tactics, it's not there. I don't know. Mass manpower, cannon fodder. Yeah, they have plenty of that. Donkeys, golf carts. Yeah, they have that. Mosin rifles that are like older than my great grandma's poop. Yeah, it's there. But anything else, I just don't know. I don't know what is it there to admire about Russian army, because it's like it's just crap. And we also have another commentary from Julian Kelterborn, who says, "Dima, good to see you in good health. Can't wait to see you in 3 weeks. Best from Germany, Julian."
Cheers, Julian. Hope to see you soon.
All right. And question from Julian, by the way: are normal radio FPVs still useful in your positions?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, of course. They are still useful and they are still used a lot, lots of them. Just FPVs with fiber optics has some restrictions of use. You can't, because since it's linked to a control station by a fiber, so it's a physical link. They are a little bit more difficult to manipulate. You can't do like turns and turn around and stuff. So they are good to hit like uh, targets like houses, like bunkers, like targets which how to say, targets that don't move, right? And so normal FPV with radio control, they are still used a lot against cars, even infantry, where you have to sometimes follow the target, pursue the target. So yeah, for sure, the regular FPV with radio control are still widely used.
Yeah, it's good to know. Returning to your story, what part of your identity as a musician have you carried with you into the army, into the Rubish Brigade?
Hmm. As a musician, um, it's a very interesting question and a little bit complicated to answer. I think what I was, what I have always been committed to as a musician is the authenticity. Is the sincerity and the truth of the music I was playing. I have never played music I didn't like. If I was invited to play with a band I don't like, I would refuse, because I always wanted to play a real emotion, because I think music is about emotion. Any kind of art is about emotion in the very first run. And so I think this truth that we try to bring throughout our music, and this real emotion, this sincerity of expression that we always try to achieve. This has become a kind of my credo, kind of uh, my rule of life, right? And this is something I'm trying to bring with myself in my service. So when I'm serving, when I'm doing what I am assigned to, I'm trying to be as true as possible, as authentic as possible, to really bring my best, because I think this is where I am the best expression of myself. So maybe this conception, this point of view is something that I brought from the music to my service. I'm not playing drums when I'm at the service, not yet, at least. Maybe we will do some gig for our guys one day, and then I will be able to say that I totally brought my drums in the brigades area, and that we played, like, we kicked asses with our music. But yeah, right now I think it's first of all the feeling of something real, of being real as rock music can be real.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that rock music and especially metal music is the music of the army. First of all, to me,
Mhm.
it's like that because like it's a hard music, right? But also it's a music of peace because peace is full of different emotions, and our life is not only about war, not only about fighting, but also about other things. Our
Mm.
life is full of different emotions, and metal is as an emotional music, it's something that resonates with those feelings. That's just my
Mm.
opinion.
That's really true. That's really true. Because lots of guys on the front line are listening to rock music. First of all, because it resonates with them. It resonates with the events, with the whole situation. So yes, of course, that's the music which goes really next to the events and any music actually, but rock music and metal music. When you check in different videos on in social media of Russian targets being hit and assaults and all this kind of shit, you can very often hear rock or metal music. So yeah, it's the music of the war actually. Yeah, and of the peace as well, because we are not fighting because we want to fight. We are fighting because we have to fight. But what we want is peace. But peace not at any price. You know, we want peace, a real peace. We want to be sure that there will be no more war, and our kids and our grandkids will never have to fight again. We have to destroy Russia and to like break it down for it to doesn't exist anymore in its actual shape. And yeah, this is our ultimate goal. And music helps us. It inspires us.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When I made my tracks, sometimes I used this trick when you do a breakdown, you want the sound to go boom, right? And
Mhm.
like what you do, you take your drums, your bass, your guitar, and you compress it in a specific way, so you have this like boom effect. What I found is that the easiest way to do that is, instead of compressing all the stuff, you gotta just add a lot of bass that you can find, for example, in the sound of explosion. That is why, for example, in that track that I sent you, on the like on the breakdowns, there is like the bass that actually comes from the sound of like actual explosion. I just took everything
Mhm.
on the in the equalizer, and everything that is lower than 50 hertz I left in there, and everything that is higher I just removed, and it kind of works. But in your case, how or has the rhythm of war influenced the way you think about rhythm in music?
I have to say that the name of the band, Harmata, it means cannon. It means cannon in Ukrainian. So we started actually. The band has been started with the name. I wanted to do something which would explode. It had to be an explosion of emotions, explosion of sound. And when you listen to Harmata music, you can hear lots of different emotions in there. It's not steady, it's changing all the time. It's going from fast to slow, from heavy to less heavy. Sometimes you can have some jazz stuff or dub stuff or reggae stuff, drum and bass. So the emotion is changing all the time, and it's pretty much the same as in the war actually, because the emotional roller coaster. Actually, every Ukrainian is living now in this emotional roller coaster. Is something, It's during all the time, and especially when you're fighting, when you're serving in the army. This emotional roller coaster is something you have to live with all the time. And our music is about that. And actually, since we started making music with Harmata, we started just naturally, just by ourselves doing songs about war, because the war started in 2014, and it already was in our minds, and something uh, it was something important for us to talk about. and to live. We had to live through it, and this is what Harmata music is about. It's like exactly the same emotional uh, picture as of someone like being on the front line. Sometimes you're running, sometimes you're crying, sometimes you're laughing because you won a battle. Sometimes you're crying because you lost a friend. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, and it goes like that, and it's never ending waves of emotions coming to you. And yeah, it's about that, man. It's about that.
Which bands inspire you?
You want to give me the names, right?
Yeah, I want you to tell the names. Like, which ones are your favorites?
I'm still listening a lot to old music, to the music from '90s, because it was back at that time that I was shaped as a meloman, as a musician, and I still have lots of respect for the bands I was listening when I was a teenager at that time, and I had a few favorite bands at that time actually, and whose drummers actually influenced my own style of playing, and whose music influenced the music we are playing now. And so, if I had to tell you some names, first of all, I think I have to mention the grunge music. All the grunge movement. I really went deep into studying grunge music. I listened to lots of grunge music bands, and but the four most well-known bands of grunge music are still like they have so much respect, and I love them so much. They are Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, and Pearl Jam. Everyone in his own kind of grunge. They all influenced us a lot, and me especially personally. Then I was very fond of thrash music as well when I was a teenager. So Sepultura, Slayer, Metallica, Anthrax, and of course hardcore music like Hatebreed, Biohazard, Agnostic Front. All these guys shaped my musical being, right? And of course, if we compare Harmata to a band, it would be, I think, Faith No More. uh, just just because we mix lots of musical styles in our music, and it comes up being something very eclectical, something we love. We are doing this because we love it. Actually, we are doing music that we would be happy to listen to. So and our singer has such a timbre of voice like Mike Patton has. And when you listening to Harmata, you can recognize really this style of voice, of vocals. So yeah, these are the bands, and yeah, and I have to name another band which is Red Hot Chili Peppers, but the old version of Red Hot Chili Peppers, just before the Californication album. With Californication, they just went playing something smooth, pop music, and after that, I don't like them. But before that, I was like huge fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and their drummer Chad Smith is one of my favorite drummers ever. He has this powerful, punchy style of playing. Very simple but groovy, heavy. And yeah, and all these bands have made us what we are today.
Yeah, besides all the bands that you named, I absolutely love those. But I also There was a period of my life when I tried to explore death metal, which is something that, again, something absolutely powerful, but I could never play it because, in my opinion, playing death metal is basically like playing jazz. You gotta have like specific vision, of
Yeah,
this music. Um, besides,
totally.
yeah, besides grunge and besides thrash metal, what are some of your favorite styles that you like to explore from time to time?
I love uh, I love actually lots of different styles of music. I love jazz. I used to listen a lot to jazz music, especially acid jazz, but also like classical jazz, like swing, bebop, big band. I love all this music, smooth jazz. I love reggae. I love dub. I love drum and bass, jungle. But when I'm talking about drum and bass and jungle, I I can difficult. It's difficult to find really interesting bands for me because their music is like all the time the same. It's a great concept of music, but it's all the time the same. I don't like it. I want the music to be very diverse, very to have different colors in it. And but we can take some tricks from there, some beats, some moods, some grooves, something like that, and incorporate them in metal music. And this when you are trying uh, to mix two different styles of music, like if you can mix thrash metal with drum and bass, you can come up with something very interesting. And this is what we are trying to do. Yeah, I love also some pop music, but not like universal pop, but there are some really good pop artists as well. And of course, folk music. Of course, folk music of different people, different nations, different parts of the world. Ukraine is, of course, in Haidamaki. We used to play a lot of. We had lots of influences of Ukrainian traditional music. We used to use Ukrainian traditional instruments, and it brings really lots of interesting emotions into the music. And I think everything actually started with the folk music, and exploring folk music of different parts of the world is something amazing to me. I mean, the music is music, whatever the style is. What matters is the truth, is the real emotion you pass through the music. It can be, a very simple music, very simple style, like made on some laptop or something, but it can breathe, it can bring you an emotion, it can bring you a sensation. Whereas it can be a very technical math core or metal core band, with different breakdowns and highly technical musicians and all this kind of shit. But if there's no emotion in that, it's not actually interesting, And this is actually why I'm not listening a lot to heavy music, to modern heavy music right now, because I I think I can't feel lots of truth in there, It became something too commercial, and they want to look as rebels. They want to look as as tough guys or something. But they are just pretending, and very often it's just fake. It's just fake, and you can feel it. You can feel it, and since you feel it, it's no, it's banned. No, thank you, but I will go back to my oldies and feel the real shit, with thrash, old thrash metal, old grunge, and all these pillars actually of the rock and metal music.
I would say that most probably since around like late 90s, maybe early 2000s, there were not many revolutions in metal music. Just in my vision, just from my
I
standpoint.
agree. I agree.
Do you think that maybe metal music requires something new, some new bands, new breakthroughs, new revolutions, and maybe metal bands are currently searching for this, for the new sound?
Of course they are. Of course they are searching, and metal music is requiring some rebirth, something, some renewal. But the problem is that the bands are searching all the time, and they have invented like millions of styles and sub styles of music. I don't even know them. They are trying like crazy stuff in when playing music, like crazy tempos, crazy arrangements, some crazy stuff just to be different and to create something new, But as I said, very often it's just a technical exercise, and they don't put any real emotion into that. And I think the, the fundamental problem of the music, or of the overall music and of the rock and metal music, is this emotion. If you don't put any real emotion into your music, it will be fake. It will be plastic. It won't be true and natural. And the audience is understanding that. It can feel it. And you can do a huge hit and become a star for a week or a month. But listen, if you take all those bands, in '90s, they were making the whole albums of the greatest songs ever made. Like let's talk about like trip hop music. Just listen to Massive Attack albums. Like all the songs are just wow. You just like, oh my fucking god. And it was like that all the time. They were putting themselves like totally driving their music by their emotions, by what they were living through. And whereas right now, the scheme of making music is like, make one great hit and all the rest can be like shit. One hit will bring you up, you will become famous, you will be invited to festivals and stuff. But it doesn't work. It works for a short period of time, but it's not the art. It's not the art. We are for the art. The music is the art. It's not business. Well, okay, it can be business, but it has to be art first of all.
I agree with you 100%. I wanted to ask you this. My dear family in the chat knows the story that I went to the concert of, I believe it was Space of Variations from Vinnytsia. And
Mm.
I broke my rib in the mosh pit. And then, less than in a month, I broke the same rib in another mosh pit. It was really fun. Do you remember some crazy stories from your concerts? Like, can you tell us like the craziest of them?
The craziest. Huh. Uh, this is a very tricky question. I remember. it maybe it will not be a crazy story, but it will be for me. It was an it was an impressive story because uh, it was about Haidamaki band, and as I told you, we used to play a lot during during the Revolution of Dignity, and one of the one of the most striking souvenirs I have, one of the most striking memories that I have I have kept from that time is when we first played in Maidan, and in front of us we had like 1 million people. You know, the whole place was just so crowded. It was it was impressive, man. It was impressive. You remember that those gatherings, and so when you
I remember them well because I was among the guys that were guarding the stage at some point. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I was there also all the time, and these gigs, I can't tell it was something like concert because we were playing like 20 or 30 minutes every time, and the first time we faced such a great gathering was in the beginning of December 2013, and it was one of these biggest gatherings ever, and when I went up to the stage, in these gigs, you had no sound check, nothing. You just come up and play, and that's it. So that was something we haven't been used to, but it worked because everything was like set up all right, and when you just walk up to the stage and you get the microphone and you say "Slava Ukraini," and the million of people replies "Heroям Slava." Man, it was like, oh, and this is the something I will always remember, and it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It gave such an energy, It gave such an energy, and when you play your music and people are like, yes, and they are shouting with you, they are singing with you because we were really well-known band back at the time, Haidamaki. So lots of people knew who we were, and they were singing with us, and it was crazy. And just talking about that, we with Haidamaki we played in Donetsk, in their Maidan in Donetsk in January 2014. And when we were playing, it was just in the middle of the place, in the city center. There were really few people compared to Kiev, and around there were titushkis who were trying to attack us, and people were protecting us while we were playing. And it was raining, and it was like at midnight or something. So the whole ambience was like crazy as well. People were just like, "Boom, boom, boom," and we were playing. So lots of souvenirs, from that time. From yeah, many different interesting stories to tell.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's difficult just to remember something like that, text. So it's just something which came up to my mind after your question. But there were many different other stories, I think. We also played the night in Maidan, the night when Berkut beat the students. You remember? And
Yeah, yeah.
after which actually the big revolution has started. So they were also interesting memories from that night, because we were going back home, and we were thinking, and we were playing in front of Berkut, and they were just listening and waiting, and when we were going back home, we were thinking, will they attack? Will not they attack? And when we wake up next morning, we saw these pictures with people beaten, blood running down the place and stuff. Wow.
Yeah, I remember that night clearly because I went there. We were there with the guys. We were there with private sector before it was started being called private sector. Actually, Siege,
Yeah.
C14, Zheka, Karas, and everybody else. And
Mm.
we were like looking at the Berkut there. There were like hundreds of them, helmets, shields, and everything else. And it looked as if they were preparing to attack, but apparently they were expecting us to dissolve. So there would be
Mm.
like very, very little people remaining at the Maidan. So they would then attack, to be like 100% sure that they would disperse the crowd. And like late evening, something about like midnight, the guys go, well, we have information that nothing will happen. And
Mm.
then I met Mikhailo Zhizhnevsky.
Oh.
I met Mikhailo Zhizhnevsky. He came there with UNSO, and he was like, let's go check upstairs. We went up the Institutska street just to check. And we saw Berkut eating shawarma, like kebab in the kiosk and everything else. And then the guy said that we have information that they will most probably not attack tonight, so we can just go to bed. And we went to sleep, and in the morning we all woke up to a new country, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
But when you look at the crowd of people and you see millions faces, literally, on the Maidan, when you see it with your own eyes, what would you like to tell about it to people who say that all those protesters were like bought, bribed, like 200 hryvnias? Okay, is it even possible?
No, listen, I was there. I was there in 2004. I was there in 2015. Lots of my friends were there, and no one has even ever offered us any money. It was all about the unity of people, about the unity of uh, likely mindset people, because it was the Ukrainian civil society, and we were all thinking the same way. And this is only about that. You know, I was shocked myself because during Yanukovych era, I thought that Ukraine, has finished as a Cossack nation and it's finished as a as a free nation. But when I saw the Maidan, I was like, wow, is it still possible? When I was kid and I was very fond of history. So I read a lot, I learned a lot about Ukrainian resistance, historical Ukrainian resistance. And when Ukrainians were oppressed, they were never happy with that, and they would never agree. So there were always revolutions, there were always rebellions, they were always fight. Actually, this war has been lasting for more than 350 years. It's not. It's just another wave of this war. It's just another wave of our fight for freedom. And so Maidan was the beginning of that. Was the beginning of people, critical mass of people who would not agree with what was going on, and these people just came down to streets to say no. We do not agree. We want our life this way, not that way. And it was that, man. It was that. So how people helped each other, how people smiled to each other, how people talked to each other. everything that happened there was just about the unity. It was like I felt like better than in my own family there. I was like happy to be there. Sometimes when you were sitting at home and watching TV, and the TV was like broadcasting some like very terrible images of what's going on Maidan. I was rushing there, like, let's see what's going on, let's do something. And you come there and you feel good. And, despite of the danger, despite of everything, you just feel good because you're among people like you. So, no, it was a real popular unrest and a real protest, a real rock and roll.
Absolutely. Dear friends, just to remind you, we have Dima Kushnir from the Ukrainian metal band HARMATA, also my bro from my brigade, 4th Operative Brigade of the National Guard, Rubizh, the legendary HOSTOMEL Brigade, and also we are running a fundraiser for our guys, the vehicles and the drones. If you want to support my brigade, please check out the link in the description. You can find the link to the website of HARMATA Volunteers Foundation. And we will greatly appreciate any support because our guys are currently operating at the span of Pokrovsk, which is, as usual for our brigade, the hottest spot of the front line right now. Let's talk about something that is happening right now. Do you follow the latest peace talks, negotiations, the upcoming meeting between President Zelensky and the international war criminal Putin, if it even happens in the future? What's your thought about that?
Many thoughts about that. Um, I think I haven't voted for our president.
Same here.
Uh, yeah, but but sometimes he's not doing bad. I think he managed to pass the message, the right message, to our international friends, to our international supporters about what's really going on here in Ukraine, and he managed to unite people around Ukraine, and it's his big acquisition, his big result. I have to say that. There are many issues about his internal policies, but on the international level, our diplomatic team is not doing bad, I have to say. So they have quite quite a fucking difficult task to deal with Trump. Because Europe is now like mm, gathered together and supporting Ukraine, and which is a really good thing. And I have to say thank you again for all the European people, because the European leaders would never support Ukraine if real people of those countries weren't supporting Ukraine. So thank you for your support. But the United States is a big international, the most powerful country in the world, the most military speaking powerful country in the world, has to say his word. And now everyone is waiting what will be happening with Trump and all these peace talks. I think peace talks is a good thing in itself, right? But one thing that we have to understand, that Russia is not ready for any peace talks. They can say that they want peace, but what the fuck, If they wanted peace, they would never attack Ukraine. They just have to draw back and leave us alone. You know, it's just as simple as that. You know, if they wanted peace, there would be no war. You know, so so right now the task is to convince the president of the United States about that. And his behavior is such chaotic. You know, today he's saying one thing, tomorrow he's saying like the opposite. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what to say and what to wait for from that. The thing I'm happy with is that all the civilized world is supporting Ukraine. Not talking about President Trump, but all the Europe, all Canada, you know, all the civilized free countries are supporting Ukraine, and we are really happy with that. But the United States are, we don't understand. We just don't understand what they want. We just don't understand what they're trying to do. And the conclusion I'm coming to with all all this happening is that the first thing to do for us in Ukraine is to become stronger and stronger ourselves, because the best security guarantee for us are the Ukrainian army, is the Ukrainian army. So we have to really work, of course, with Trump and with all our already existing partners and supporters. That's for sure. But we also have to work inside Ukraine on strengthening our army and, of course, the whole nation. The whole nation has to be united. That's the base. I mean, there is no other choice. I have to say, today, the fact that President Zelensky is talking to all the world leaders and he's talking on the same level, it's just because the people of Ukraine is standing here, and the Ukrainian soldiers, Ukrainian infantry soldiers, are just keeping the front line on their shoulders. It's just it's just because of that. If we in Ukraine were not united in this idea of the victory of not giving up to Russia, of keeping on fighting, there would there would be no international policy at all, you know, around Ukraine. We would just be left alone with this thing, with this war, and you know. So I think my main idea is just we have to keep on working on what we are doing and just be strong, and everything will be all right. I don't know what we can expect from Trump. I don't know. We'll see. As he says himself, and we'll see what will be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. People in the chat are asking how come we didn't vote for Zelensky, and you know there's this massive unsubscribe right there, guys. This is how democracy works. Back then, Ukrainian society was voting for people they wanted to vote for, like the candidate Poroshenko. What he said resonated with one part of society. What Zelensky said resonated with another part of Ukrainian society. Majority won, and we with DIMA we completely respect the choice of majority Ukrainians. This is how the democracy works, and this is how it's supposed to be, right? So I wanted to ask you this: the meeting, they decided that there's supposed to be meeting, and this is probably the biggest demand of President Trump to Putin, to have personal meeting with President Zelensky. He gave him basically 2 weeks. 1 week already passed, nothing was done. Lavrov keeps saying that President Zelensky is not legitimate. It's not the level of Putin to meet with President Zelensky, and shit like that. After a week of striking their refineries, they finally started recognizing that, yeah, actually President Zelensky is chief of Ukrainians, we gotta talk to him. But in a week, do you see this meeting even happening? Because I don't really see that. I don't really think that internationally wanted war criminal Putin will have enough, I don't know, will have balls basically, or willpower, or even, I don't know, the main thing is strategy to meet with Ukrainian president. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think maybe theoretically speaking, they can meet because Trump wants it, right? But what will they talk about? What will they talk about? I don't think Russia, Putin and Russia would are ready to talk about peace on our conditions, because we want to talk about peace on with our conditions. Of course, we are losing territories every day, and the enemy is still attacking and stuff. But the enemy and the Russia, the whole Russia, is not in very good state. They are suffering. They are suffering huge losses. Their economy is going down, and until they really feel bad, they will not be ready to talk peace seriously. So this meeting maybe will happen. I don't think so, but maybe it will happen. But it will be just something like, uh, very very formal, without any real talk and real deal. Everyone will express again his position. Zelensky will express the position of Ukraine. Putin will express his position, and it will be over. There's nothing to talk about. I mean, the only way we can make Russia sit down at the table and talk about peace is to kick their ass, and to kick their ass very hard. We have to destroy them. We have to destroy their economy. We have to destroy their army, and only after that they will seriously sit down and talk about peace, and they will ask themselves to sit down and talk about peace. But right now they are not ready. They're like feeling like being victorious because they are getting a village every day, but these villages are only ruins. There's nothing left. There's nothing left. So okay, they are, but for every square meters of Ukrainian land, they pay hundreds of lives of their so-called soldiers, of their zombies. So it's actually a really good moment to hit Russia really hard and to break them down, because they are in bad condition. And if Trump would understand that, he would put on severe sanctions on Russia, send more weapons to Ukraine, and we will be like done with this. Just another 6 months or year of this kind of war. If we have long range missiles, if we have lots of ammunitions, if we uh, put on sanctions on Russia, more sanctions, really heavy sanctions, they will come back and say, please, let's talk, because we can't do it anymore. And we have to do that. It's the only way. It's the only way. The only way to have a real peace is to destroy Russia, is to stop them as a state right now. I mean, in their actual configuration, they represent a threat to the whole free world. and so it just has to be resolved. It's an issue which has to be fixed. There is no other way. There is no other possible peace talks with them, because they will, okay, they will maybe stop for 1 week or for 1 month, but they will recommence again. They will restart. They will come back to the battlefield, and they will do even more destruction, and even more killings, and even more rapes, and stuff. So there's just one way, is to destroy Russia,
I agree on
and
that, brother. Yeah,
we can do it. We can do it together. We can do it.
yeah. The only force that managed to stop Russian terrorism so far is the armed forces of Ukraine, Ukrainian defenders. Basically, it's a fact, and
Man,
we.
when we are talking about, we talked earlier today about the admiration of Russian army, but this army is just a band of rapers. It's look, we are in 2025, and they haven't even conquered the whole Donbass. Man, they are losing 1,000 men every fucking day. you know so they are not that strong. Of course, there are lots of them, but they are not strong. They are not brave. They are not real fighters. They are just like, I don't know the word in English, but they are just like some kind of infection, some kind of infection just spreading like that. So we just have to cut it, just really cut it. There is no other way. It's
100%.
like, yeah.
But basically orcs. There is a reason they're called this way. Yeah. Also, there is a Rick the Ukrainian in the chat. Hello, brother. We've had a great stream on the Independence Day, or rather Independence Night. We decided that this is not only a holiday of Ukrainians celebrating their independence. It's basically a holiday that belongs to all the decent people who fight against tyranny, and I think it's a proper thing. I can share a bit of my observations and tell me if you will agree with that. All right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So we have 2 weeks, technically already 1 week before the meeting should take place, according to Trump. And what Russians do all the time is first what Ukrainians do, all right? What Ukrainian president does, he says, I'm ready to meet with this fucking terrorist Putin anytime, right? What Russians do is they are trying to delay, prolong, or cancel the meeting between Putin and Zelensky. And instead of that, they are trying to force Ukraine to instantly agree to Russian conditions. Initially, what Trump wanted, Trump initially wanted to just stop shooting, right? Which eventually we decided, fuck, why not? Let's have ceasefire, okay? We can talk about, solving the war, but first let's have a ceasefire, because we are Ukrainians, we are being attacked, we are being invaded. Of course, we want a ceasefire. So let's start with the ceasefire. And Trump, thank you so much, let's do that. Trump talked to Putin, and Putin said, I don't want a ceasefire now. I want a peace deal. Immediately, all right? And this is what Trump says. He spoke out that President Putin doesn't want ceasefire, meaning that he wants to continue killing Ukrainians. He admitted this publicly. And he said, let's have this meeting between President Zelensky and the internationally wanted war criminal Putin. So, in a week, this meeting will not happen, because Russians will do anything possible not to make it happen. But they will be pushing Ukraine to immediately, without having any bilateral, trilateral meetings on the highest level, they will be pushing Ukraine to recognize and basically admit and basically capitulate to all what Russians wanted. And the biggest risk right there is that Trump will change his position again, and now instead of meeting between Zelensky and Putin, he will be demanding, which I don't state this. This is just my assumption and my, let's say, concern. All right, that he might ask President Zelensky to immediately, cede territories and agree to all the demands of the fucking terrorists. So that is like one point of my concern. Another point of my concern is that there will be actually some kind of action taken by the United States regarding this, because they will see that Putin basically generates words but never stands for his words. So he says that, yeah, I agreed to have a meeting, and then he doesn't agree and shit like that. What do you think about all this?
I think Zelensky is trying to follow as he can, right? But he tries to follow Trump because he still believes he can convince Trump of Ukraine being righteous in this situation, and he still hopes that the United States would finally say, "Okay, we can see that Russia is not ready for any peace, for any real talks, and so the only way is to like send more weapons, make more sanctions, and end up with this." So he still believes it's possible, and he's doing his best to follow Trump. It's really difficult because Trump is very chaotic and uh, he's unpredictable, but he tries all the time to follow his messages, to sometimes repeat his words, to say what to repeat what Trump has said, just to show him that he listens to him, and he's like he cares about what he's saying and stuff. But I think Zelensky will never sign any deal which will be how to say, which will not be in line with the expectation of Ukrainian people. There is one thing we have to understand about Zelensky is that he's an actor. He's an actor, and he loves the stage. He loves the audience. He loves the applause, and he wants glory. He wants glory because any actor wants glory. I think consciously or unconsciously, anyone who's on stage wants to be applauded. You know, so it's a good thing about that. The bad thing about Zelensky in the beginning of his presidential career was that he was completely incompetent, and he was not the man I could ever imagine being the president of Ukraine. Like someone, an actor from a TV show becoming president of Ukraine in times of war. What the fuck is going on? But right now he's taking advantage uh, of his inner being an actor to make profit out of it, and so he's behaving like a good actor playing well his role, and he wants his public to applause, and the public, we we Ukrainians, we will applause only when he does right things, things that we want him to do. And what do we want? We want Russia to stop existing as such right now, the Russia as it is right now. And he totally understands that. So I think he will never sign any deal in this direction. I mean, if even if Trump says, okay, right now you signed the deal, you give up Donbass, you give up, I don't know, part of Kherson region, part of Zaporizhia region, and we just stop the war and everything will be over. He will not sign that because it will create such an unrest here in Ukraine, and he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He wants to to end his career as a big man, as a great guy who made lots of great things to his nation, and he wants his monuments to be everywhere in Ukraine in 20, 40, 100, and 300 years. He wants his name to be written in big characters in every history books. He wants all these things because he's an actor. I think so. It's my personal point of view. Maybe I'm wrong, but so far, watching what's going on, I think I'm not totally wrong. So I can only repeat what I just said is that unless unless Ukrainians are all united and are all agree on this point of view, uh, all have the same vision. I mean, of course, not 100% because you will always have traitors, collaborants, and all this kind of stuff. But I'm talking about the majority, and the majority of, especially the majority of the civil society. And the civil society is the part of the society which decides for the rest of the society. The active and the proactive part of the society, and is the part of the society who really makes changes, who makes the difference. And so our president is very attentive to that, and he will never do that. So as since we are all united, we all agree with that. Our president will do what we want him to do. I think so.
I,
Uh,
I, I completely agree with you, and this is something that, by the way, um defines us as Ukrainians because decisions in our country are made on the level of people usually, and then we project what we think and what we expect to our leaders that we elect. And it was always like that basically since the revolution of dignity. You can even confirm that the biggest thing our authorities are afraid the most is basically people's dissatisfaction and unrest because as soon as there is a protest they just run around like crazy. And because in Ukraine we it was always like that. In Ukraine we never had kings and gods, all right? No kings, no god, maybe god, all right, but no kings. Ukrainians generally don't recognize authorities. It's something our national, it's something in our blood, but we were basically anarchists, and it's partially good, partially bad, but it's like part of our being, part of our national nature, I think, that we always dictate and expect what we want from our authorities. And this is something absolutely beautiful about Ukrainians. I think that this is the definition of democracy itself, in a way.
that's right. That's right. You remember in Maidan, there was no leader. There was no one guy who was like a leader of the whole movement. People decided for everything. There were wings of the movement, like cultural, political, and stuff. And you remember there were opposition, so-called opposition leaders back at the time who were uh, negotiating with Yanukovych. And I remember myself like being in one of these meetings when they came just from talks with Yanukovych, and they were reporting to the people. They were saying he asked us to do that, and we suggested this, and they were asking for people's opinion actually, and people just voted with their voices, just on the spot. I mean, do you agree with that? No. Shall we do that? Yes. And they did what people wanted them to do, because it was such a power. It was such a power, and this is a real raw, true democracy, like it used to be like 1,000 years ago in Ukraine. And as you said, it's in our blood, and we are like this. And we want our leaders to do what we want. And the base of all this, the very foundation of all this, is the people's opinion. And as long as people stand united and agree on this opinion, leaders will only do what people want. And it may sound crazy, but in Ukraine it's like that.
Yeah, yeah. I was explaining this to our viewers a lot of times, and I'm glad that you can also confirm this. Dear friends, just to remind you, we are running a fundraiser for my brigade, for our brigade, together with DIMA. Please check out the link in the description, the HARMATA Volunteers, because currently our guys are in Pokrovsk and we are trying to help them with fiber optic drones and also vehicles. So we will greatly appreciate that. And Dima, I think it's probably a good time to wrap it up. Oh my God, Ashley Brown in the chat mentioned spaghetti. And because this is my channel, we often talk about food, like, in the end of each episode. Okay, let's talk about this. If our viewers, like 162 people currently in the chat, arrive to Kiev like tomorrow, what is the food that you would advise them to try?
Well, it can sound a little bit banal, but of course you have to try Ukrainian food, right? Start with the classics, and if possible, try this food at someone's place, at some locals, family, in a family. Uh, of course, there are good restaurants, Ukrainian cuisine. Uh, by the way, lots of my foreign friends are all often surprised by the fact that in Kiev and all around Ukraine there are really few Ukrainian cuisine restaurants. And like, why? Because we Ukrainians, we eat Ukrainian cuisine at home, you know. So I won't be going to have some borscht in a restaurant. I will cook it myself, or my wife will cook it for me, or my mom will cook it for me. And these are the best borscht in the world. What is the best borscht in the world? It's your mom's, right? It's your mom's. So of course you have to try like real classics of Ukrainian cuisine, borscht, vareniki, all this stuff. But then you can try to go in depth and discover Ukrainian regional cuisine, regional dishes, meals. And I have to say that after the Revolution of Dignity in 2015, the Ukrainian cuisine, along with all the other aspects of Ukrainian culture, is gaining momentum, is reviving, and is renewing. And we are now discovering, we ourselves are discovering now some traditional Ukrainian dishes that we lost. And why did we lose them? Because we were colonized by Russia, and Russia was trying to make us forget about everything great that we had, just leaving some small part of like sharovar, traditional Ukrainian trousers, some kind of embroidered T-shirts, some songs, a few dishes. Like, okay, you have this. It's your, like, say, regional specifics, but with all the rest, you are the same with us Russians. No, fuck no. We have such a variety of regional dishes, of regional cuisines, regional recipes. It's so rich, and right now it's coming up. It's coming back, just like music, just like Ukrainian language, just like everything else. And so just just come and discover. And I was uh, for years and years, I have been working with in my civil professional career. I've been working with international partners and clients, amongst them French. So I had lots of French people with me, and you know that French people are just crazy about food. The food is their religion. They are just totally crazy about eating well, eating good things and stuff. And they are very often very critical towards other cuisines, towards other people's culinary tradition and stuff. And I have never seen any French guy who was disappointed with Ukrainian food, and they were always really happy and surprised with the quality of our food and the quality of even our products, the raw products, because we have such a great land here, such a great climate. And just a carrot, or just an apple or just something like that is so good. It has a real taste, a real smell, real color. And it's not, it's not fake, it's not something plastic. So just come and discover, and I think you will be really surprised, and well surprised. And the variety is so huge that you can keep on discovering for years and years, as we do actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Snow Change says Andriy should already be well stocked on XXL coffee beans this week, because Snow Change Simon not only helped me with this amazing microphone, but also he makes sure that I drink a lot of coffee. All right. And also we have commentary from It Wasn't Me. Please tell Dima that we are very, very grateful to him, because we know that he's fighting for all of us. Thank you, Dima.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you as well. And I think that we will be pretty much wrapping up very soon. Dima, is there any message that you would like to tell to our viewers and everyone who supports Ukraine?
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. The message is very simple. Again, I want to thank you guys, really, from the bottom of my heart, from all my comrades, all my friends here in Ukraine, for your support. You know that without your support, it would have been really tough for us. It is already tough, but without your support, it would be, I mean, really, really, really tough. So thank you so much. We do appreciate it a lot. We really do. And we feel that we and you, we are in the same fight. Uh, we are in the same boat. We are in the same barricade. As we say, we are on the same side of the barricade, because we are fighting for the values. It's a war of values. It's a war of freedom. It's a war of civilizations, if you want. So we are feeling that we are fighting for our values, but these values are also yours, and we can feel and we know that you share these values, the values of freedom, of human rights, of self-expression, of free trade, of free travel, of everything. And in this regard, I think it is very important for all of us to stick together and to keep on this fight together and not get ourselves fooled by any propaganda, by any fake news, by any fake information. We have to stand together, guys. We have to keep on fighting. We are on the front line, you are on the back, but this is as important as being on the front line. Uh, we uh, we are fighting, you are helping, and it's our common cause. It's our common cause. I mean, there is just one possible way out of this is the Russia's defeat. It's the only possible way to peace. So don't let's not be tired, even if we are nearly exhausted. But we we have to continue. We have to keep up fighting. We have to keep up with the good job. We have to keep on working. So thank you for supporting Ukraine. Thank you for supporting our fight for freedom. And just let's keep on doing that. I think we we have good chances to see the end of this, to see the victory of the good upon the evil, because it's about that. It's the war between the good and the bad. So thank you so much. Keep on supporting Ukraine. Listen to good music, eat good food, and keep in touch.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your inspirational words. Also, big thanks to our amazing moderators. They are the only true force that provides us with like real security guarantees here in the chat. Big thanks to all the members of this channel, all the supporters of my channel, and also all the supporters of my brigade, which is even more important. Thanks to Rick for donating as well. Thanks to everyone who donates to our cause of fighting for our freedom. And also big thanks to all the supporters, all the decent people who support Ukraine. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Be safe. Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. Thank you, brother.
Dima, don't run.